Welcome to the Northwest Sports Fanatics YouTube channel. I am your host, Orion. I got a great show for you here today between the Seattle Mariners and the Athletics. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes, so let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Wednesday, everyone. It's Walter, aka Logan Gilbert, and on the right, one of their center fielder studs, Lawrence Butler. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, J.B. Crawford. Batting second, playing center field, it's J-Rod Julio Rodriguez. Batting third, DHing this afternoon for the Seattle Mariners, Randy Arozarena. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Batting fifth, playing left field for the very first time for Seattle, Rob Refsnyder. Batting sixth, playing right field, Victor Robles. Batting seventh, playing second base, Cole Clutch Young. Batting eighth, catching today for Seattle, Johnny Pareda. And batting ninth, playing third base, Cole Emerson. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 2-4 record, ERA of 4.04, it is Logan Gilbert. And now let's get into the starting lineup for the home Athletics. Leading off for the Athletics in right field, Carlos Cortez. Batting second, playing first base, Nick Kurtz. Batting third, DHing today for the A's, Shea Langeliers. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, left fielder, Tyler Soderstrom. Batting fifth, catching today for the A's, Jonah Heim. Batting sixth, playing center field, Henry Bolte. Batting seventh, playing second base, Jeff McNeil. Batting eighth, playing third base, Zach Geloff. And batting ninth, playing shortstop, Daryl Hernandez. And on the mound for the Athletics with a 3-5 record, ERA of 4.11, it is Jeffrey Springs. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. We're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. We are 10 subs away from 24,100. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. The icon, the legend, Rick Riz, 50th anniversary for the Seattle Mariners, 40-plus years on the radio, retiring after this season. Every stream this year will be dedicated to this legend and icon, Rick Riz. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. Big opportunity here today, not only for us to get the brooms out and to get the sweep, but again, if we end up winning, we're going to actually get into first place in the AL West for the first time this season. So again, it just feels like we've been, very close to getting above 500. And even with the win today, we'll still be one game below. But again, if we win, we go to 28-29. If the Athletics lose, they go to 27-29. So we are only a half game back, and hopefully we can get the sweep. We got the day off tomorrow, and then we come back home to T-Mobile for a set against the Diamondbacks and the Mets. And if we can do well against those two franchises, we will be above 500. And then hopefully we don't look back from that point moving forward. Very exciting times with, the whole season kind of going sideways. We still have a chance to get first place in the AL West with an one game below 500 record. But I think every Mariner fan will take that, even though, things have definitely not gone the way that we expected. But again, slowly but surely, we just have to stay afloat. We won 9-2 in game one, 4-1 yesterday, and we're definitely hungry for the sweep. Cal Raleigh, Miles Mastrobuoni, as well as Carlos Vargas. Definitely waiting on those guys to come back, as well as Brendan Donovan. Still tentatively June 4th, June 5th for those 4 players, but that could definitely change if there ends up having any type of setback. Now, this was supposed to be Severino, the righty, on the mound, but since they lost yesterday, I think that's the reason why they decided to bring out a lefty, since they know that we struggle with lefties. But again, we ended up seeing the rookie make his MLB debut yesterday. We took care of business, and hopefully we'll be able to do the same thing against Jeffrey Springs. 3-5 record with an ERA of 4.11, so I like our chances. And again, we really only have 2 weak links in the lineup in Rev Snyder and Pareda, but lately they've been doing decent, and hopefully they can get on base with a single and maybe end up getting on with a walk or a hit by pitch like Rev Snyder did twice yesterday. Springs warming up there on the mound, leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, J.P. Crawford, batting second, center fielder Julio Rodriguez, and batting third in the DH role today, Randy Orosarena. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Power Code in the building. What's good? CB in the building. What's good? All day. Good to see you. Dark Passenger in the building. What's good? Chris in the building. What's good? And I like our chances here today. Obviously, if they would have had Severino, we could have had Luke and Dom in the lineup, but that doesn't mean that we won't see them later. But hopefully we can get the job done. First pitch, J.P. Crawford, slow dribbler. Kurtz drops it. Throw to the pitcher at first, and safe. Wow. Springs drops the ball. And, again, everything has really been going right for us, and everything has been going wrong for the A's, and usually that's reverse. And Kurtz with the diving attempt can't get the job done. Throw hard to the pitcher, and Springs can't handle it. And you got to be able to know, who you're throwing to. You can't throw the ball the same way that you'd be throwing to Kurtz as you would to the pitcher. It's like, when you have those soft touch passes, to a center in basketball, you can't throw it to a forward or guard and then expect to throw it the same way to the center, and they're going to end up catching that ball. You got to have soft hands, and, some centers and some pitchers in baseball do. And again, I'll take that. Nice job. J.P. Crawford getting on with a little slow dribbler. And again, definitely a play that you think that the A's should have made. Good start. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. Trident's up, and let's see if we can get an early lead and not look back. First pitch is high and inside to Julio Rodriguez. Four-seam fastball, 90 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 1-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss by Julio, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Springs to Julio. Change up 79 miles an hour, fooling Julio. And Julio has been very good in the first half of the season for the very first time in his career. It may have taken him 5 years to figure it out, but if this is the type of Julio that we're going to get moving forward, I think that we will all agree it was worth the wait. We know Julio can be an all-star player in the second half of the season, and he's proved that every, pretty much season that he's been in the big leagues. But the first half hasn't really been good in the first, 4 years. But this year, even starting off slow in the first 10 games with Cal and Naylor, he's turned it around, and it's been impressive. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away, change up 80 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. And hopefully we'll be able to get, a day of somewhere between 8 and 10 Ks out of Logan. But if it ends up not being 8 to 10 and he's not locked in, hopefully 4 to 7 with some double plays behind him to be able to help him get the victory. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Joe in the building. What's good? Dave in the building. USA in the building. What's good? 2 balls and 2 strikes from Jeffrey Springs, the lefty, to Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, Julio. 2-2 pitch, high and inside, almost hits Julio, has to jump out of the way. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Jeffrey Springs to Julio Rodriguez. 3-2 record, or 3-5 record with an ERA of 4.11. So there should be some wiggle room here against Springs. 3-5 record. 3-2 pitch, hard hit ball, line drive though, right into the left fielder's glove, and that is 1 away. Tyler Soderstrom ends up making that out one up and one down. Really hoping that Julio line drive would fall and we could end up getting JP at third for runners at first and third, but we're going to have to wait. Down goes Julio. Next up in the DH role this afternoon in the 3-hole, Randy Arozarena, one of the hottest hitters on the team from the beginning of the season. And if he can end up getting a hit or two today, he should be above 300. He's been hovering around 297 to 299, and he's at 297 at the moment. First pitch in there for a strike looking with the slider, 85 miles an hour, high and inside, 0-1 count from Jeffrey Springs. 0-1 pitch from the lefty, and Randy with a little blooper. Oh, it's dropped. No way. Did he catch that? Oh, okay. I was about to say there, he caught it and then threw it at the ground, but it looked like potentially maybe he dropped it. You know how sometimes guys get outs very quickly and then they just kind of drop the ball down? But with that, it almost looked like he ended up making an error, but ended up catching that ball and just throwing it on the ground very nonchalantly. And that is 2 up and 2 down. Next up is Josh Naylor. First pitch is low and away with a slider, 86 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Bash in the building, what's good? With a win today, the Mariners will be in first place in the AL West, believe it or not. And obviously, getting the sweep would be extra sweet based on how things have happened, up to this point, with the season kind of going sideways in the first third of the year. But still shows you that, we can win this division. We are the most talented team in this division. There is no doubt. We just have had injuries, poor play, poor managing, and maybe expectations a little higher than maybe they should have been, but again, when you end up having, meltdowns by certain players, injuries, poor managing, sometimes, you will have an under 500 record, but it definitely feels like we're trending, in the right direction to go above 500 and not look back. 2-0 pitch, little dribbler up the middle, and throw to first is high. Let's go. And it goes into the Mariners dugout. And again, we're used to JP Crawford making throws like that. And wow, what a play there. Jeff McNeil, trying to make the big play here. And Naylor isn't the fastest player, as we know. And again, great job. Runner is safe at first. And now we have runners, I believe, at first and second. They're not going to have, obviously, JP go to third at this point, even though JP was heading that way as he ended up seeing that ball go into the Mariners dugout. Couple mistakes early here for the A's, and that's kind of how it goes, right? When it rains, it pours. We've gone through it ourselves, and when things are going great, you're on cloud 9, and I kind of feel that's where we're at. Next up is Rob Refsnyder playing left field for the very first time for the Seattle Mariners. We'll see how it goes defensively for him, but he ended up getting a hit and getting hit by two baseballs, obviously plunked twice yesterday, but it was a good day for Refsnyder, as well as Victor Robles and Mitch Garver. Runners now at second and third with 2 outs. I love when we can end up incorporating double steals and hit and runs, and they actually work for us. Runners at second and third now with 2 outs. JP at third, Naylor at second. 1-0 pitch. High and away, but looks like it ends up hitting the corner for the strike zone. 1 ball and 1 strike from Springs to Refsnyder. Try dance up. Let's go, Ems. Let's go, Rob. Let's see if we can end up getting an unexpected RBI single. Single, double, hit by a pitch, walk, whatever. 1-1 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Rob Refsnyder. But it would be really sweet if Rob could come up big in 2 games in a row. Even getting an early 1-0 lead would be great, considering the A's have had a few mistakes already early on. Kurtz missing a ball at first base, and then a wild throw by Jeff McNeil into the dugout. 2-1 pitch, check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike to Rob Refsnyder. Come on, Rob. Let's go, baby. Try dance up. Let's go, Ems. Three-one pitch. Takes a strike looking high and away. Right on the line. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Rob Refsnyder. Runners at second and third. JP at third. Naylor at second with 2 outs. And if we can end up getting an early lead within the first 3 innings, it would be definitely ideal. They were supposed to have Severino, a righty, on the mound, but they lost yesterday, so they figured, well, let's throw another lefty out there and hope the Mariners struggle. But we've started to turn it around, not only against the A's, but against left-handed pitching. 3-2 pitch, hard hit ball by Refsnyder, deep left field, back, gone! Wow! At the top of the wall, and it rolls out of the building. Let's go! Rob Refsnyder, 3-run jack, 3-0 Seattle. Let's go! Unbelievable. And again, Rob playing well in the second game in a row, which is not something that happens that often. And again, if our role players are finally stepping up, that really shows, what kind of position that we're in right now. If we're going to be able to get, Victor Robles looks like he might end up starting in right field, for the majority, but again, we should have Luke Raley, Dominic Canzone, Refsnyder in there as well. But again, for Rob Refsnyder, to end up getting a 3-run blast with runners on, huge. 3-0 Seattle. And just like that, the A's probably, in their mind and their fan base, they think, this game might already be over. And they might be right. 0-2 pitch, fouled off, low and away. After Victor Robles went 3 for 3, we had Luke Raley come in. And that might have been the first time that I was maybe thinking Luke maybe shouldn't come in for the very first time in the year, especially when a guy is 3 for 3 and he just ended up coming back off an injury. And again, I love me some Luke Raley, number 1 in home runs and RBIs, but in that situation, I was really hoping Victor would go 4 for 4 like Colt Emerson did a few days ago. 0-2 pitch, popped up and out of play. Great to have Robles back. I mean, much better than Connor Joe. And again, it looks like with, Victor in the lineup, it's kind of rubbing off on Refsnyder and vice versa. And again, weak links, with Refsnyder and Pareda may not necessarily be weak links anymore. And again, there's going to be definitely more popular players and guys that are playing every day. But if we can get some good production where we actually trust guys that are playing splits rather than, oh my, this is terrible, they're going to go 0 for 4, 0 for 5 for sure. Feels good. Great job by Rob Refsnyder. 3-run jack with JP at third and Naylor at second. 0-2 pitch to Victor Robles, and that is strike 3 looking, and that is the end of the inning for the Mariners. But again, it feels good, where things are actually going our way against a good team that we're going to have to battle with to win this AL West. And again, if we win today, we're in first place, for the first time, I believe, this season. So again, we just need to be able to get above 500, but one step at a time. Let's go to the bottom of the first inning, and it's just great being able to see the Mariners score runs. Let's go, baby. $13 dono. He said, get the brooms out already. Captain with a $13 dono. Appreciate you very, very much. We're at 13. 87 to go. And again, for a lot of the fair weather fans, they gave up on this team already early in the year just because we had a below 500 record. But again, if you're a real fan, you look at the standings and you realize that the American League is not good this year. You got the Guardians, you got the Rays and the Yankees, and then pretty much everyone else, hovering around 500, below 500, a couple games, or really below 500. And luckily, we're just on the cusp of, potentially getting above 500. But again, with a win today, we'll be in first place in the AL West, and hopefully we don't look back. We got the day off tomorrow, and then we come back to T-Mobile in Seattle and have a series against the Diamondbacks and the Mets, and we should be able to beat those teams up, you would think, and hopefully we do. Great job and great start here by the Mariners with JP, Naylor, and Refsnyder getting the job done. Next up, in right field, leading off Carlos Cortez. Batting second, first baseman Nick Kurtz, where his on-base streak ended yesterday because of Gabe Spire. Nice job. And batting third, the best catcher in the game this year, DHing Shea Langeliers. And on the mound for the Mariners, Probably our worst starter, out of everyone, considering Louise really isn't a starter anymore, even though they're platooning and piggybacking. Logan Gilbert, and again, he obviously has been getting better, starting off the season 0-2, so he's getting there, but still, more closer maybe to Luis Castillo rather than Bryce Miller or Emerson Hancock, but there's still hope that Gilbert can turn his season around and eventually get above 500, and hopefully he'll be able to pitch well here today. First pitch takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch takes another strike looking high and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Cortez. 0-2 pitch, splitter, low and away, fouled off into left field, out of play. No balls and 2 strikes from Logan Gilbert to Carlos Cortez. Let's go, Logan. 0-2 pitch, low and away, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Carlos Cortez. And for Logan Gilbert, 2-4 record, but started 0-2, remember that. And ERA is 4.04. So if he ends up having a good, solid outing today, he'll have his ERA in the high 3s. And obviously having it in the high 2s or mid 3s is where we want him. 1-2 pitch and a little line drive that goes into Julio's glove off a couple hops. And a nice base knock there for Carlos Cortez. Next up, for the Athletics, first baseman Nick Kurtz. On deck, Shea Langeliers. Come on, Logan, you got to settle in. Hopefully we can get a strikeout and a double play, or a double play and a strikeout. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Yeah, I mean, we did, the money and the Cactus Jack, but I figured, sometimes things need to be retired, and you got to be able to kind of adjust, just like in my intro, to the streams. We did it kind of the same way for years and years and years, and I kind of switched it up this year. And, we got the train whistle and, with the dono train. So sometimes you got to be able to adjust and pivot and, make something, new compared to maybe some old traditions that we had in the past. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Gilbert to Kurtz. We got a challenge here with the ABS. Mariners challenge. And it ends up being a ball. Not sure if I would have challenged that if I'm Pareda, but 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first. Cortez with no outs. Bottom of the first inning, 3-0 Seattle, with a 3-run jack by, out of all people, Rob Refsnyder. Let's go. Two 2-1 pitch, high and inside. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike to Nick Kurtz. 3-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and inside. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and no outs. Bottom of the first inning, 3-0 Seattle. Three-two pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Nick Kurtz. A big punch out there for Logan Gilbert, and that is 1 away. Nice job there by Logan Gilbert, bringing that electricity, striking out Nick Kurtz. We like that. And that is 1 away. Next up is Shea Langeliers. And a hard hit ball into right field. Wow, Victor Robles, diving catch. And again, that's why Victor Robles in right field, is something that needs to happen. We love Luke Raley, but again, Luke wouldn't have dove and made that play. And again, Victor Robles showing the athleticism. We got an athlete in left in Randy with pop-ups, and obviously someone that can make plays like that other than Julio. You're looking at him, Victor Robles. And again, ended up being 3 for 3 yesterday. And I really think he's going to give us that emotional lift. And he already has. And just imagine once we get Donnie and Cal back, as well as Masterboni and Carlos Vargas, we'll finally be full strength for the very first time around possibly June 5th. I'm not sure if all 4 of those guys will be back in time. Carlos Vargas in the pen, Miles Mastroboni as a platoon player, and then obviously starters Cal Raleigh and Brandon Donovan. But I've been saying this since the beginning of the year about Victor Robles to you guys. I really did think that he would give us that emotional lift, a better, platoon or rotational player than obviously a few of the others that we have on the team or had on the team, like Connor Joe. And again, we'll see if they decide to keep Robles in right field or if they platoon him, with Luke Raley, Dominic Canzone, and Rob Snyder. But again, I like what I'm seeing out of Robles so far since he's only had a few games in since his injury. 1-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tyler Soderstrom. 1-1 pitch fouled off into left field. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tyler Soderstrom. And, and we don't necessarily need, to have the best record in the American League. We just need to try to win the division. And if we can't, then get the wild card. And down goes Soderstrom, and that is strike 3. I like what I'm seeing here. And again, Gilbert is locked in, and the defense looks like they're locked in as well as the offense. So everything going right so far. And remember, a lot of times when the Mariners would score, 1, 2, 3 runs, what would normally happen to us, right? We give it up immediately, and then all of a sudden the score is 3-3. So lately, though, against the Athletics, we've been scoring, and they haven't been responding, and we'll take that. Great job there by the Mariners, as well as Logan Gilbert doing his thing, as well as Victor Robles. Great to have you back. You're better than Ref Snyder, even though he did have the 3-run homer. You're better than Connor Joe that's in AAA. Obviously, you're better than Johnny Pareda and Mitch Garver. But again, if you can get good results out of Ref Snyder, Pareda, Robles, and Garver, it'll rub off on the good players. And again, I like what I'm seeing. Next up for the Mariners in the top of the second, in the 7-hole, second baseman Cole Clutch Young. Batting second in the 8-hole, third string catcher Johnny Pareda. And batting third in the 9-hole, third baseman Colt Emerson. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Let's go for the sweep. And if we win this game, we're first place in the AL West for the first time this season. We're only a half game back. We win, we're 28-29. If the Athletics lose, they go to 27-29. And again, it may not sound like a lot, but again, just being in first place is a big deal. Even if you do have an under 500 record. But again, I do believe that we'll be above 500 pretty soon. It could even be next week. Shout out to Rob Refsnyder, homering to left, 368 feet, just on the top of the mat that bounced, obviously, into the crowd. It was just barely a homer, but we'll take it. Crawford was at third. Naylor was at second. Great job by JP, Naylor, and Rob Refsnyder. First pitch from Jeffrey Springs to Cole Young is a strike, 0-1 count. 3-5 record, ERA of 4.11, and we're already making him pay the price. 0-1 pitch, low and away. Slider in there on the corner for another strike looking to Cole Clutch Young. No balls and 2 strikes to Cole Young. Come on, Cole. Oh-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Young. And that is 1 up and 1 down. Nice punch out there for Jeffrey Springs. Next up in the 8-hole, third string catcher, now second string since Cal is injured, with Mitch Garver obviously being the lead. Catcher, Johnny Pareda. And again, you don't really expect a whole lot out of Refsnyder and Pareda, the 2 weak links, normally in the lineup. But again, lately, Rob has been able to get, a single. He got hit twice as Pareda has a slow dribbler, throw to first. And that is 2 up and 2 down. But, Pareda had a hit yesterday. Robles went 3 for 3. Garver, ended up having a hit. Refsnyder got 1 hit and got hit twice, by the pitchers. And then today with a 3-run jack. So hopefully Pareda will be able to get at least a hit or maybe get a walk, to have, something positive before the game is up. 2 up and 2 down. Down goes Young and Pareda. Next up is Colt Emerson. Let's go, Colt. First pitch in there to Colt Emerson, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. Top of the second inning, 3-0 Mariners. And again, it's just nice for us to be able to get going early. And, that's when we end up usually imposing our will. And one home run usually leads to another, sometimes another, and even another, like a few games ago where we had 4. But yesterday we had none. And again, we got one today. So there's probably a pretty good probability that another home run is on the horizon. Big swing and a miss there by Emerson. 0-2 pitch, low and away. Good eye there by Colt. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the second inning, 3-0 Mariners. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Spring to Emerson. Yeah, and when he started off like 0 for 20-ish, we were like, uh-oh. But again, it's hard hitting in Seattle. It's the hardest ballpark to hit at. But again, that doesn't equate for not hitting on the road, per se. Baseball definitely is very mental. It's not just physical. And if you get in your own head, it definitely can go sideways and you can go on a big slump. But again, if you're positive and you can feed off the momentum of the other players on the team, sometimes you'll end up having amazing hot streaks as well. And I assume we'll have a few of those after we get Cal and Donnie back. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and Springs with another punch out, and that is 3 up and 3 down. Let's go to the bottom of the second inning and see who's up next here for the A's. Good inning there by Springs after giving up 3 with the Rob Refsnyder home run, and not giving up any there, but hopefully we will be able to find a way to pour on a few more runs. Next up, in the 5-hole, catcher Jonah Heim. Batting second in the 6-hole, center fielder Henry Bolte. And batting third in the 7-hole, second baseman Jeff McNeil. Trident's up. Let's go M's. We're 10 subs away from 24,100. We're at 13 on the Dono train, 87 to go. Now let's see how close we are to 100 likes here so far early in the broadcast. Got 120 in the room, and we're at 34. Good start. All right, 66 more to get to 100. Trident's up. Let's go M's. First pitch from Gilbert to Heim. Takes a strike on the corner. 0-1 count. Former Texas Ranger, now Athletic. So went from the Rangers to the Braves and then came here. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Beautiful slider there by Logan Gilbert, fooling Jonah Heim. No balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Heim. Bottom of the second inning, 3-0 Seattle with a 3-run jack out of all people, Rob Refsnyder. I mean, the only other guy that would surprise us like that might be Johnny Pareda, hitting a 3-run jack. But again, it just shows you how important it is, to hit homers early and often. We are very home run dependent, but we also can win, not all the time, but we did yesterday with no home runs. But a lot of times when we don't homer at least once, we lose. But definitely nice to be able to see, us kind of turning it around. So pitch is low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jonah Heim. 1-2 pitch, little blooper. Wow! Victor Robles with another diving grab. And again, Luke Raley, Rob Refsnyder, Dominic Canzone probably don't make that play. We got a logjam in right field and DH, as well as potential suitors at third, for platooning. But look at Victor Robles making plays on offense and defense, and he's already saved probably a run and a few extra, base hits just based on his athletic ability. I'm telling you, Victor Robles, he got that athleticism like Julio. And again, even Julio sometimes struggles on those diving catches. He's more of, let me jump up and rob a home run. And again, Randy more, just getting a clean pop-up. He struggles on ground balls. But with Victor, he can go head first and he'll Superman for those balls. And more times than not, he'll get them. Nice job, Victor. 0-1 pitch fouled off behind the plate there by Henry Bolte. No balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Bolte. I mean, essentially, it could be 3-1 right now. But again, great job by Robles robbing. Obviously, 2 big hits into right field, having to dive and lay out. And I love defense like that. That gets me jacked up. And again, great to have Victor Robles back, not only defensively and right, but also in the box. And if they're going to decide, I don't know if they will, but if they decide to keep Victor at right field as the starter for the rest of the year or most of the year, then we need to have Luke Raley DHing, even though we have Dominic Canzone there as well. So, but again, it seems like they're just going to keep, platooning certain guys based on, the pitching matchup, and that's fine, but as long as we're winning. 1-2 pitch, big whiff, but it looks like he got a little bit of a check swing there. And obviously Pareda tags him anyways, and he heads into the dugout, 2 up and 2 down. Love me some Victor Robles. Down goes Bolte. Next up is Jeff McNeil, who had the error throwing into the Mariners dugout, overthrowing the first baseman Nick Kurtz in the previous inning. First pitch to Jeff McNeil, takes a strike looking right down the middle, slider 86 miles an hour, there by Logan Gilbert. 0-1 count. Let's go, Logan. 0-1 pitch from Gilbert, high and away, tried to paint the corner but missed just barely. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jeff McNeil. Bottom of the second inning, 3-0 Mariners. We got the day off tomorrow as we travel back home to T-Mobile. And again, we got the Diamondbacks and the Mets at home next. So I feel confident, that we could end up winning, if they end up being 3 game sets, hopefully, we can win 2 out of 3. But again, if you win the first 2 games, then we can start talking sweep. But, hopefully that will be the direction that we go. And if that's the case, we'll be above 500 before you know it. Pitch fouled off right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jeff McNeil. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to McNeil. Bottom of the second inning, 3-0 Seattle with nobody on and 2 outs. A Rob Refsnyder 3-run jack out of all people to give us the early 3-0 lead. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Slider is nasty today by Gilbert. And again, it feels like everyone is starting to lock in. I mean, even the guys that have been liabilities like Castillo and Gilbert, they're starting to kind of turn it around. And then obviously we know Hancock is good. Kirby had a meltdown on his last start, but he obviously has been overall good. And I feel that Wu is our best. But again, guys are going to be human. They're going to have meltdowns from time to time. But again, with our pitching staff, we got 6 pitchers, 1 liability in Castillo, even though he had his best start in his last game. And again, the platooning, piggybacking isn't really ideal necessarily for a guy like Bryce Miller. But what it does do for Miller and Castillo, it gives them a chance to rest our bullpen. And if that's the main benefit, so that way that those guys can go the whole game and then we can rest the bullpen for one particular day and let those guys rest up for the next game, it could end up really being a big benefit. So Lauren in the building, what's good? Shout out to our female audience, as well as everyone watching in the United States, Canada, South America, Mexico, Asia, and beyond. Appreciate you. End of the second inning, 3-0 Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, 1-for-1 with a run, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Batting second, 0 for 1 center fielder, it's J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. And batting third, 0 for 1, DHing today in the 3-hole, Randy Arozarena. Trident's up. Let's go M's, baby. Do it for Rick Riz. Let's go. And I've started to obviously throw pitchers on the thumbs. You know, I was kind of superstitious last year. Kind of felt like every time that I ended up putting a pitcher on the thumb, we lost. But I think we started to buck that trend this season. And again, it's nice to be able to see, you know, a few other guys on the thumb besides just the regular guys that I put on there. And hopefully this will help Logan Gilbert get the victory. Ref Snyder, a single, and he got hit by 2 pitches. First game this season, reaching 3 times there by Rob Ref Snyder. Mitch Garver ended up having a double and a single, went 5 for 11, obviously during the road trip. And again, you know, when you end up getting the lower end individuals stepping up, it definitely gives you a little breath of hope. First pitch into JP Crawford for a strike, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, low and away, 1 ball and 1 strike to JP Crawford. And pretty soon, you know, we should hopefully have all our pitchers, you know, maybe not Castillo because obviously he was above 6, but, you know, everyone besides Castillo as a starter, hopefully at some point all at the 3, you know, whether it be high 3s or mid 3s, so be it. And then hopefully, you know, at some point before the season ends, we might actually get someone under 3 in the 2s in the ERA, you know, someone, you know, potentially like Wu or maybe someone else like Kirby or Hancock. But again, you know, or maybe even a guy like Bryce Miller, you never know. So, but again, we're definitely trending in the right direction. Pitch is high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to JP Crawford. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss there by JP right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Springs to Crawford. Jack in the building, how are you? 2-2 pitch and a little dribbler up the middle, gets past Hernandez and goes to the center fielder. We'll take that. Nice base knock by JP Crawford. Nothing that Bolte could do out there in center field, as well as Hernandez there at short. Great job, JP. Crawford singles to center. Next up, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. You know, and essentially, they could have went with Severino, the righty today, that was supposed to pitch yesterday, but they called up, obviously, a lefty making his MLB debut, and we rocked him. And then they thought they would throw another lefty out at us because traditionally we're not very good with lefties, but you know, so far so good. And now we have a 3-0 lead. First pitch fouled off there by Julio Rodriguez. 4-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour by Springs, who we typically have good success against, even though he is a lefty. 0-1 pitch popped up and out of play. Slider by Jeffrey Springs. 84 miles an hour to Julio Rodriguez. No balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Julio, most home runs by month, August 2023. Ended up having 8. July 2025 had 8. And this month, he's got 7. So there's a chance for him to be able to break the record, you know, in his, you know, early career. If he can get 2 home runs, but if he can get 1, he can tie. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. Springs fools Julio with the changeup, 82 miles an hour, low and away, and gets him to chase. And that is strike 3. And that is 1 up and 1 down. Next up is Randy Arozarena in the 3-hole, DHing today. He's 0 for 1. And if he can get a hit or 2 today, he will be at that 300 number. He's at 296 now, and he's been hovering between 296 and 299 lately. Did break 300 a few times a couple games ago, and hopefully we can get him there and get a few other guys to get above 300 as well. It's definitely not easy to be batting above 300 in the MLB anymore. Number 1 in hits for Randy was 60. 58 for Julio, Naylor with 52. And then obviously we know Rayleigh is leading the team with RBIs and home runs as a part-time player, which is amazing. 0-1 pitch fouled off there by Randy right down the middle. 4-seam fastball, 90 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first. JP with a single up the middle with 1 out, top of the 3rd. Let's see if we can get to 4 or 5 this inning if possible. 0-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Big rip there by Randy as he almost falls down, going for that moonshot swing. 2 up and 2 down. Next up in the 4-hole, first baseman, it is Josh Naylor. Springs on the mound. Josh Naylor in the box. Come on, Josh. Another guy that has really turned it around. You know, he was the second worst hitter in baseball, a few weeks back, and has actually been one of the hotter hitters since April 19th. And it's definitely a good thing to see, whether it's making the adjustment with the leg kick or just getting his confidence back. But definitely seeing the baseball much better, like Julio, at the moment. 1-0 pitch, little dribbler down first base, flip to first, and just in time as Naylor runs hard to first, but just can't get there in time. And that is out number 3. Let's go to the bottom of the 3rd inning and see who's up next here for the Athletics. 10 subs away from 24,100. And we're at 13 on the Dono train because of captain. 87 to go on the Dono train. And let's see where we're at on the likes, how close we are to 100. All right, we're at 53, so we're about halfway there. $47 to 100. Velasco in the building. What's good? No, I have never been to the San Juan Islands. I'm a West Coast, kind of individual. So, Oregon, I've lived here my whole life. I've been to Washington. I've, been to Vancouver, Tacoma, Seattle, and a few other, cities in Washington. Ended up going to California when I was younger, like Disneyland and whatnot, but not a lot of places in California. And then I've been to Japan. And other than that, that's pretty much it, besides a business trip that I took to Illinois, into Chicago, where I was working for, a big sales firm, selling Verizon Business, phone, internet, and cable over the phones. And one of the main corporate, locations was there. And so we were in Chicago for about a week. Got to go to a Bulls game, back then, and, got to see the front of Wrigley and everything else. And, had a good time and whatnot. But no, I have not been there. But, who knows? Down the road, things could change. Go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, 3-0 Mariners. Rick Riz is loving it. Next up for the A's in the 8-hole, third baseman Zach Geloff. Batting second in the 9-hole, shortstop Daryl Hernandez. And batting third, leadoff hitter, right fielder Carlos Cortez. So far, so good. Logan's pitching well. The bats are alive. We're not making errors. And we'll see what the bullpen ends up doing. Obviously, we had Mooney, kind of shit the bed again. Luckily, we ended up having a 4-run lead rather than, being down, a run or having a tie game and then having him give up the home run and then we're down 2-1 and then we lose, which has happened quite a few times this season. But again, Mooney, not really trustworthy. Castillo, not really trustworthy either, but at least Castillo ended up having his best start in his last piggyback game with Miller, and hopefully we can build off that. 1-1 pitch, little line drive up the middle. JP is there. And there we go. A little bit sidearm, but mostly traditional. And JP ends up making the throw. And again, anytime JP throws sidearm, it's an error. If you just throw normally, it ends up getting to Naylor more accurately. And nice job there by JP with the slow dribbler there from Geloff. And again, if he would have thrown that sidearm, who knows? That probably ends up being a wild throw and he ends up being safe. But luckily, he's learned. And nice job there by JP. Enough with the errors. Next up in the 9-hole, Daryl Hernandez. First pitch to Hernandez. Pops it up behind the plate and foul. 0-1 count, four-seam fastball. 96 miles an hour there by Logan Gilbert. 2.1 innings pitch, 1 hit, no earned runs, no walks, 4 Ks. Springs has got 5, so he's keeping pace. 33 pitches, 23 strikes, and his ERA is below 4 now, 3.90. I love it. And I would love for all our starters, to have an ERA in the 3s, but obviously with Castillo, above 6, that might take a while, or may never happen, based on his skill set. But everyone else, with Wu, Kirby, Miller, Gilbert, and Hancock, they all should eventually be in the 2s or the 3s, even if it ends up being high 3s, sooner than later. Nobody out of those 5 guys should be in the 4s or higher. And then I guess for Castillo, the goal would be, instead of being in the 6s, to get his ERA down to the high 3s or mid 4s, since he's above 6. 2-1 pitch, high and inside. 3 balls and 1 strike to Darryl Hernandez. Three-one pitch from Gilbert, and Hernandez with the line drive. Colt bobbles it and doesn't get a chance to be able to make the throw to first. 1 out and 1 on. Nice base knock there by Hernandez. Next up, leadoff hitter, right fielder Carlos Cortez, and we definitely have seen some hard hit balls into the infield. Obviously, the really hard hit balls into right field have been captured by Victor Robles. He's already saved us from the Athletics getting on the board, but again, hopefully the infield with Naylor and JP, Cole Young, and Colt Emerson, hopefully they'll be able to make up for, a few of these hard hit balls that they haven't been able to make plays on, and maybe we'll be able to get a few double plays before this one is over as well. First pitch to Carlos Cortez ends up being a ball. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Gilbert to Cortez. Gilbert on the mound, Cortez in the box. Two-0 pitch, hard hit ball into right field. Victor is there, as reliable as it all. And again, we know Randy's good with pop-ups, but today he's DHing, right? So they got Ref Snyder in left for the very first time, and he hasn't really had any balls hit to him yet, but I am kind of wondering, can he make plays out there? And obviously with Victor Robles, you probably trust him just as much as Julio, sometimes maybe even more, when he's healthy. And Robles looking very good out there in right field. Next up is Nick Kurtz, and ended up having his on-base streak end. He was trying to get to 50, and obviously surpassed Mark McGuire, but Gabe Spire came in and ended up getting the final at-bat out for that streak to end, and wouldn't surprise me if Kurtz ends up starting another streak like that, this season or next season. First pitch into Kurtz is a ball, high and away, four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour, 1-0 count. I love the Naylor fist pumps. I love seeing emotion from our guys. 1-0 pitch, high and away, hitting the corner of the strike zone. Change up 87 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike to Nick Kurtz. One pitch, in there for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Nick Kurtz. And if we end up keeping Robles in right field, whether against righties or lefties, then that means that we're going to have Luke Raley and Dominic Canzone DHing. So one guy is going to get kind of left out and whatnot. And, if we had to choose between Dom or Raley, we probably would want to choose Luke. But, obviously we know with Dom and Luke, I think they play better as he strikes out Kurtz, and another punch out there for Logan Gilbert. Great job. I feel that, players play better when they're not DHing, when they're regular players. It's like if you get Dom in right field, or if you end up getting, Raley in right, they play better than typically them just DHing most of the time, just having those reps out there and moving their body, defensively and, keeping in the groove. But a lot of times when you're just DHing, body gets tight, you're sitting down a lot, and it really takes a special player, to be able to be a great DH like, Edgar Martinez. Guys like that don't grow on trees, and it's not like Edgar was a DH for his whole career. He obviously played, in the games before they transitioned him just a DH. But so far, so good here for the Mariners, and great job there by Logan Gilbert tying Springs with 5 Ks. Let's go. Pacing for 10, and he ended up having his season high of 9 recently, but we didn't win. But it feels like maybe today will be the day. And if we win today, not only do we get the sweep, but we get first place in the AL West. Next up for the Mariners, the hero so far, besides Logan Gilbert, 1 for 1 with a run and 3 RBIs, a 3-run jack, Rob Refsnyder. Let's go. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a K, right fielder Victor Robles. Love ya. And again, if he didn't get hurt last year, he probably would have batted 280 to 300 for the whole season and really, gave us that lift. And it's just unfortunate that he got hurt going for that ball in San Francisco, but I'm so happy that he's back. I love ya, Victor Robles. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, second baseman Cole Clutch Young. Tridents up. Let's go M's. 10 subs away from 24,100. We're at 13 on the dono train. Looks like we gained a sub. Appreciate you. 9 subs to go to 24,100. Shout out to our female audience, as well as everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. We're at 13 on the dono train, 87 to go. First pitch into Refsnyder, little slow dribbler, throw to first, and that is 1 away. And we're at 58 likes. 42 to 100. So Refsnyder dribbles out on the first play to the shortstop, but he has a 3-run jack, so we're good. Next up is Victor Robles, who went 3 for 3 yesterday, and then they pulled him and put Rayleigh out there. And again, might be the first time ever that I didn't want Rayleigh to come in. When a guy's 3 for 3, you want him to try to get to 4 for 4 like Colt Emerson, but and it's Rayleigh struck out in his at bat anyways. So, if we're gonna get 3 swings and 3 misses, you want to go with the hot hand, and Victor is starting to heat up, which is a good thing, not only offensively but defensively. First pitch is low and away, a 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away with the changeup, 79 miles an hour, fooling Robles. 1-1 pitch, another check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. Change up missing there by Springs. 2 balls and 1 strike to Victor Robles. Let's go. Tridents up. Let's go M's. Two 2-1 pitch, takes a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 4th inning, 3-0 Mariners with a Rob Refsnyder home run in the 1st inning. 3-run jack with JP and Naylor on board. 2-2 pitch, Robles with a laser towards third base and foul. Count still remains 2 balls and 2 strikes from Jeffrey Springs to Victor Robles. Let's go, Victor. 2-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Victor. And another punch out there for Jeffrey Springs. Definitely have a little bit of a pitcher's duel, even though he did give up the 3-run jack in the first, but he's been clean since. Down goes Robles, and that's 2 up and 2 down. Next up for Jeffrey Springs, Cole Clutch Young. And we're definitely due for a hit from Cole and Colt in this game. Strikeout in the second, 236 average, 3 homers, 27 ribbies. And first pitch there, gets past the shortstop. There we go. And Cole Young, just like I mentioned, due for a hit. 5 seconds later, sports gods say, you know what? You're right. And nice base knock there by Cole Clutch Young. Nice single up the middle. And we've had a couple balls not really being able to be fully defended, and again, we had a few on our end. But we've had a few, obviously, there with Hernandez and Kurtz that we've been able to kind of skeet through there, and we'll take that. Next up is Johnny Pareda. First pitch to Pareda is low and away, a 1 count. Rebecca in the building. How are you? Tridents up. Let's go M's. And we did have a problem against the White Sox and the Royals, getting those balls past the infield. But in this particular series in Sacramento, we've been definitely lucky. Defense overall has been good. Offense has been good. Pitching has been good. We have had a few errors, and a little bit of a meltdown by a few guys, in the pen, but not anything to, make us lose. So, we just got to hope that we can just put it together. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Johnny Pareda. And it will be nice once we get above 500, and then when we end up getting a streak going, where we win 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row, and I do believe that we will be able to do that once or twice, maybe even 3 times this season, but majority of those win streaks will probably happen after the All-Star break, but it would be really sweet if we could get, a 5 to 8 game winning streak at least once before the All-Star break to kind of give us some momentum. 3-0 pitch, takes a strike right down the middle to Johnny Pareda. But again, when we end up getting on those win streaks, we probably will do it with Cal and Donnie as long as they can stay healthy, you would assume. But the team is talented enough to do it without them. But again, it definitely has been a very up and down type of season for us so far. 3-1 pitch, popped up and foul out of play by Johnny Pareda. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runner at first with 2 outs. Top of the 4th inning. 3-0 Mariners with a 3-run jack. In the first inning by, of all people, Rob Revsnyder. Back-to-back great games by Rob, getting a single and getting plunked twice yesterday, and then ends up hitting a 3-run jack with Naylor and JP on board in the first. Love it. Pitch fouled off right down the middle. 3-2 pitch. High and inside, and that is ball 4. And anytime that we can end up getting anything positive out of Revsnyder and Pareda, whether it ends up being hit by pitch or a walk, if they can't get a single or a double, triple, or home run, you'll take it. Nice at-bat there by Johnny. All right, so we got runners now at first and second with 2 outs. Let's see if we can get an RBI single by Colt Emerson to make it 4-0 or 5-0. Come on, Colt. Obviously, best case scenario, he hits a 3-run blast, and then it's 6-0. First pitch, fouled off behind the plate to the Budweiser sign, 0-1 count. I am. So my dad is European and Czech and Czechoslovakian and a bunch of other European countries, and my mom is 100% full Japanese from Osaka. So I am multi-racial, I guess. So a lot of European and then obviously a little Japanese there as well. And a nice base knock into right field there. And that is going to bring a runner home. Nice job there by Colt Emerson. You ask for it and you shall receive. And 2 runners come in. And just like that, I want us to be able to get to 4 and 5. Colt Emerson, we need that RBI single or double. And just like that, we end up scoring 2 runs. And I love it. Nice job there by Colt Emerson. The ESP is on point here today. Great job there by Colt. What a triple there by Colt Emerson. I would have been cool with a 2-run RBI single. He makes it a 2-run RBI triple. My, oh my. Nice job there by Colt. And now we have a chance for JP Crawford to get an RBI single to make it 6-0 or to hit a home run like he did yesterday and make it 7-0. Everything is starting to lock in for the Mariners here. Let's go. Roughing up Jeffrey Springs. Love it. All right, JP, let's see if we can end up getting an RBI single out of JP to make it 6-0 or a 2-run jack. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. Beautiful triple by Colt Emerson. And again, I just love this team. It's like a perfect blend, of guys that got called up from the farm in Colt Emerson and Cole Young. And then I'll be really excited when we get Cade Anderson on the team. But, for the time being, we got 2 out of the 3. And then we got the OGs on the team and, a few newbies as well. But it's like a real perfect blend, on the staff this year. 1-1 pitch, popped up and out of play. First pitch was a slider, high and away. Second pitch takes a strike looking with a slider, 85 miles an hour, high and away right on the line. And then tries to paint that line again. But JP gets a hold of that with a slider, out of play in left field. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at third. Colt Emerson with 2 outs. Top of the 4th inning, 5-0 Mariners. Try dance up. Let's go M's. 1-2 pitch. Popped up and out of play. Slider 87 miles an hour there by Jeffrey Springs, which we usually have, some decent luck with. Most lefties we suck at, but with Springs, we usually have his number. Like when we typically play the Astros lately, we have their number, and there's not many lefties that we usually, dominate, but he's definitely one of them. Big swing and a miss. Emerson is stuck at third, but not after Emerson ended up bringing 2 more home. And again, if you ask, you shall receive. And the sports gods are listening. And just like that, 5-0 Seattle. Love it. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Athletics, in the 3-hole, DHing the best catcher in the game, Shea Langoliers. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a K, left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. And batting third, 0 for 1, catching today, Jonah Heim. Try dance up, let's go M's. 9 subs away from 24,100. Gained another sub since the last commercial break. Thank you so much. We're getting there. 8 subs to go, do 24,100. We're at 13 on the dono train because of Captain. 87 to go. And let's see how close we are to 100 likes with almost 200 in the room. We're at 73. We're almost there. All right, we're at 73 likes, 27 to 100. Five runs, 5 hits, no errors, no runs, 2 hits, and an error. And just a quick recap. Rob Refsnyder homered to left, right on the top of the mat, just going barely, into the front row, but we'll take it. 368 feet with JP at third and Naylor at second. 3-0 Mariners in the first inning. And then we just saw Colt Emerson triple the right with Young and Pareda on board. And now we're up 5-0. And again, we win this game. Not only do we sweep the Athletics, we haven't been able to say that very often this season, but we get first place for the very first time in the American League West, even though it's only 1 game below 500. But again, we'll take it. We're only a half game back, and based on with the 5-0 lead, as long as we don't have an epic meltdown in the pen, we should end up being in first place after this game is over, which is awesome. First pitch in there, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count, 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour there by Logan Gilbert. Oh, 1 pitch, a ball to Langoliers. Got to be careful when you go down the middle to Shea. 1-1 pitch, low and away. Slider missing, just like that curve missed, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Gilbert to Langoliers. And a line drive up the middle that gets past Cole and rolls there to Victor Robles. Nice single there by Langoliers. Appreciate that, Emo. Well, Cal's not good this year. Again, we know that Cal was amazing last year with the 60 home runs and whatnot, but again, he was one of the worst, hitting players in baseball, and then he ended up getting hurt and whatnot. So still has 7 home runs, and eventually we hope that Cal can end up, kind of redeeming himself. But there are a few catchers that have been doing pretty damn well, obviously here in 2026. So, Cal is not going to be, in the All-Star game this year, and, he's not going to be in the same category as a lot of these other, guys like Drake Baldwin for the Braves and Shea Langoliers, for the A's. But, hopefully he'll, get back to, what we expect from him, and hopefully no more injuries. Fingers crossed. First pitch fouled off there by Soderstrom, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, takes a ball from Logan Gilbert. 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at first and no outs. Bottom of the 4th inning, 5-0 Seattle. Slider was low and at the knees, 87 miles an hour. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees again, tries to paint the corner and just misses again. 2 balls and 1 strike to Tyler Soderstrom. Gilbert on the mound. 2-4 record coming in with a 4.04 ERA. Tyler Soderstrom in the box. 2-1 pitch, line drive towards first, and foul. Up is good. The ear infection got flushed out. She was on her last day of meds that I gave her today. Put a little peanut butter over it, and she gobbled it up. And the ear is no longer bloody red. She's not scratching anymore, and it definitely makes my heart full. So 2-2 pitch, low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Soderstrom. There's a lot of stats that you can look at evaluating, pitchers, but, obviously win-loss record is one thing, ERA, obviously is another, innings pitched, how many walks and home runs they've given up. So it's not really just like one stat. If you want to be able to look at a pitcher, you want to be able to look at all the stats. You want to become a nerd and look at everything, home and away record, day and night record, how many walks, how many home runs have you given up? How many innings have you pitched? How many, wins and losses do you have? What's your ERA looking like? And then you can kind of get an idea, on how, things are looking. But again, the season is really long, 162 games, longer than any other season out of the 4 major sports. So, sometimes it takes times, for guys to get going, and other times guys get going hot early and then they kind of fade late. So, and another walk there for Gilbert to Soderstrom. So now we got runners at first and second with no outs. And the first time the Athletics are putting the Mariners in a little bit of a mini jam. And again, we got the Diamondbacks and the Mets at home next. And again, if we can win, 2 out of 3 against both, or maybe even get a sweep on one of those teams, could be huge for us. So 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk. First walk there by Logan. He's got 5 Ks. Springs has got 7, but pitch count is great. 55 pitches, 33 strikes, 3.86 ERA. Getting Logan's ERA under 4 was a priority, and we got it today, so that's great. And we got a 5-0 lead. We haven't made any errors by J.P. Crawford today. And really the only question mark will be, what is the pen going to look like after Gilbert exits? And hopefully it's decent, and we can end up sweeping the A's and getting into first place for the very first time this year. First pitch is high and inside, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, popped up into center field. Julio is there. Nice catch in the no-fly zone, and a strong throw to third, much better than Randy throwing it into the infield with a lob, and that is 1 away. Down goes Jonah Heim, the former Ranger and Brave. And we keep those runners stranded at second and first. Normally we know with, George Kirby, he's normally reliable and one of our best guys, with him and Wu at the top. But again, he got rocked on his last start, just like Wu did. So you hope that, that they don't have back-to-back bad starts, and sometimes, you'll have one bad start that leads to another. But with our pitching staff, you don't want to have any more than 2 bad in a row. You want to kind of turn it around, and hopefully Kirby will be electric to make up for his last start, which was not good. First pitch is high and inside to Henry Bolte, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, a little slow dribbler up the middle, double play, throw to first, got him! And I think Naylor got stepped on there. Hopefully he's okay, he's hobbling. We get the double play, but they step on Naylor's foot, and hopefully Josh is okay. Josh is a tough SOB. A great double play, but I don't like the runner stepping, Bolte stepping on Naylor there. Bolte and McNeil. Hopefully Josh will be all right. And Bolte grounds out into the double play. And hopefully Josh Naylor is okay after getting stepped on. Let's go to the top of the 5th inning and see who's up next here for the Mariners. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 2 with a K, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K, DHing in the 3-hole, Randy Arozarena. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a run, first baseman Josh Naylor. All right, we gained 3 more subs since the last commercial break. Appreciate you. 5 subs to go to 24,100. Shout out to our female viewership and all our new subs and everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, New Zealand, Australia, and beyond. Appreciate you. We're at 13 on the dono train, 87 to go. And with 209 in the room, let's see how close we are to 100 on the likes. We're at 83. We're almost there. Oh, helmet hit him in the shin. He didn't get stepped on. Okay. 83 likes, 17 to 100, and then the batting helmet flies off Bolte's head and end up rolling into the shin. I thought he got stepped on, so the batting helmet going into the shin is much better than him getting stepped on and having an ankle injury, so Josh will be just fine. First pitch to Julio Rodriguez, takes a strike looking low and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, Julio pops it up into shallow center field. Bolte is there, and that is 1 up and 1 down. Next up in the 3-hole, DHing today, Randy Arozarena on deck. Cleanup hitter, first baseman Josh Naylor. Try dance up. Let's go M's. Yeah, this is a good one too with the whip. Agreed. First pitch to Randy, fouls it back, 0-1 count. Yeah, obviously, with the steelhead uniforms, the creams ended up, getting, put on the sideline like the grays did a few years ago. And I do like the cream and I do like the grays. There's really not a jersey that I don't like. Some you like a little bit more than others, depending on what looks good, on you or on the players when you're watching them on TV, and as well as jerseys that you might own. Some people look better in certain colors than others, but, I got this sewn Cal Raleigh City Connect. I got a white Julio sewn, and then I also have a gray, like you're mentioning, Ken Griffey Jr. sewn from back in the day. So, I do miss the creams and the grays, but I do like the steelhead uniforms, this year. The teals always pop. City Connects to me are one of the best based off the color and the scheme with the yellow. Kind of reminds you of the old school Mariners. And again, you got the whites and the blues that are the traditional home and away that I don't mind either. So, I like really all of the unis. There's not really any that I don't. And hopefully, at one point or another, we'll go to a vested uni, like they did back in the day where we used to wear the white vested, with no sleeves, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. I know they're doing the Julio vested jersey giveaway, but I would love for them to be able to, do what they did in, the mid 90s, 95 through 97, where they ended up doing those sewn white vested jerseys. Those look sick. And I actually have one of those, from back in the day, a Ken Griffey Jr. with the matching blue turtleneck that has Mariners, obviously at the neck, and very, very rare item. From Russell Athletic, that used to be the provider for the jerseys, and then obviously went to Majestic, and then now we see Nike and whatnot. But the Russell Athletic, it was like a Mitchell & Ness, so very, very expensive and very, very rare. But I don't usually wear it here on stream because it's kind of a rare item. But maybe at one point I will bust it out. Pitch fouled off there by Arozarena. 4 straight foul balls there for Randy. Working the count here. 1-2 pitch. From Springs to Randy, low and away, change up missing, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Two pitch, check swing, low and away. Two balls and 2 strikes from Springs to Arozarena. 3-2 pitch, and Randy fouls it off himself. Change up by Jeffrey Springs. 80 miles an hour. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Well, OKC's up 3-2, but that doesn't mean the Spurs can't win the last 2 games with Wemby. And a little blooper into shallow center field. Nice job by Randy. Great at bat. 9 pitches and finally gets that little bloop single. Great job by Randy Arozarena. But, the Knicks obviously had an easy path. The East isn't that great. So I assume regardless if it's the Thunder or the Spurs, they'll win in 5, maybe 6. But I don't think it'll go 7 games. No disrespect to the Knicks, but they're just not on the same level as the Thunder or the Spurs this year. Now, if the Pistons were healthy with Cade Cunningham, that might have been the only team that could have forced a Game 7. If they would have been able to stay healthy and win, based on how they played in the regular season, they might have been able to make it go 6 or 7, Pistons versus Thunder or Pistons versus Spurs. But with the Knicks obviously sweeping, the Cavs, good for them. First time they've made the finals since 99, but they're not going to win, and the most that they would win is 2 games, but, more than likely it might only be 1, and it probably will be Thunder in 5 or Thunder in 6 or Spurs in 5, Spurs in 6, in my opinion. First pitch is high and inside to Naylor, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Springs to Naylor. 2-0 pitch. And a little dribbler up the middle. And McNeil sliding. Wide throw to first. And Kurt somehow got his foot on the bag before falling down, supposedly. And that is 2 away. Next up is Rob Refsnyder. First pitch is low and away, 1-0 count. And Refsnyder so far the hero, besides, Logan Gilbert and obviously Colt Emerson. 3-run jack in the first inning, really setting the tone. Nice job, Rob. 1-0 pitch, popped up. Should be a routine play for out number 3, you would assume, here in right field. And it is caught, and that is out number 3. Nice catch there from Carlos Cortez. And let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning and see who's up next here for the Athletics. Five subs away from 24,100. And we gained 2 more. Appreciate that. 3 subs to go to 24,100. We're at 24,097. We're at 13 on the dono train, 87 to go. And we ended up breaking our single dono record a couple days ago. A record prior to that was $1,300 for a solo donation by Shepard Williams 3-4 years ago. And Odin's son broke it a couple days ago, $1,500 for a single donation, the highest on the channel ever. Fantastic. And we are at 88 likes, 12 more to get to 100. So we got 201 in the room. If we can get 12 people out of the 201, we'll be at 100 and we'll be on our way. Let's go. Very dominant. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Next up, 0 for 1 with a K in the 7 hole. Second baseman with an error today, Jeff McNeil. Batting second in the 8 hole, third baseman Zach Geloff. And batting third in the 9-hole, shortstop Daryl Hernandez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. It's about damn time that we've been able to put, 3 good games together. It's like we haven't been able really to do that almost all year. And it's usually 2 games was the max, and then we'd have a meltdown. But the game's not over yet. We're halfway through. But as long as we can hang on, not only will we sweep the A's if we can hang on today, but we take over first place over the Athletics. Since we're only a half game back, they would drop to 27-29, and we would improve to 28-29. And we have the day off tomorrow, fly back to T-Mobile. I got a 3-game set against the Diamondbacks and the Mets, which we should hopefully be able to compete with. Popped up to Victor Robles, and that is 1 away. 1 up and 1 down. Down goes Jeff McNeil. Nice job by Victor Robles there in right field. Makes me feel very comfortable with him out there. Very trustworthy. Next up is Zach Geloff. 0 for 1 today. Next up on deck is Daryl Hernandez. First pitch takes a strike right down the middle. 0-1 count. But it's great to be able to see the pitching staff, finally put it together. Yeah, we're still going to have some issues, with some meltdowns in the pen, by Mooney and some of the other guys, that are filling in, but again, with the piggyback, I know Bryce Miller really isn't a fan, and probably Castillo isn't either, but again, it does save the bullpen for that particular start, and that'll help us, for as long as they do that particular strategy and we keep winning with it. Pitch is low and away, sinker 95 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike to Zach Geloff. 1-1 pitch, high and away, cutter missing. 2 balls and 1 strike to Zach Geloff. Reflect with a 3-er. Appreciate you. Michael with a 2-er. Appreciate you. Every dollar counts. Appreciate you, Michael. Shout out to Captain with the 13. Michael with the 2. And Reflect with the 3. Appreciate you. We're at 18, 78 to go. 2-1 pitch, fouled off, high and away, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour by Gilbert. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Zach Geloff. And Logan had 9 Ks in his last start, but ended up taking the L. But the run support is definitely active. Victor can't get to that ball, but gets it off a 1 hop. Strong throw into second, but just not in time. And Geloff with a double. First extra base hit for the A's all day. And again, if it was just a little bit closer, Victor could have dove for it like he did twice today, but just not, was still about 7-8 feet away. So even if he would have dove for it, he wouldn't have been able to even get a glove on it. So just out of range. Next up in the 9-hole, shortstop Daryl Hernandez. And Hernandez with a little blooper into left. Rob Refsnyder is there in left field, playing left for the first time in a Seattle uniform, and makes the catch, which is a good thing to see. If we do decide to put Randy at DH when we're going against a lefty, and we can put someone else there obviously in left, which would typically mean obviously with Canzone and Rayleigh, you got to wait till later to see them, but sometimes you got to be able to see if a guy can play another spot, and Refsnyder looking pretty comfortable out there in left and in right this year. Next up, 1 for 2, right fielder Carlos Cortez. First pitch to Carlos Cortez with the changeup. In there for a strike from Logan Gilbert, 0-1 count. Bottom of the 5th inning, runner at second with 2 outs. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Time is called. JT in the building from Denmark. Go Ams. I mean, we're getting views from all over the globe. It's great to see. 0-1 pitch. Low and at the knees. Did he go? No, he did not. Splitter missing there by Gilbert. 1 ball and 1 strike to Carlos Cortez. Bottom of the 5th. Runner at second with 2 outs, 5-0 Mariners. And this is the first time in a long time that we've been happy, 3 games in a row. We've had, a couple sweeps, like the 4-game sweep that really got us going against the Astros earlier in the year when we were the worst hitting team in baseball. That was kind of a turning point for us, as well as winning that Cardinal game when Wu gave up 7 runs and we came back and won 11-9. That was another turning point. And it feels like we've had 3 or 4 turning points, in the early part of the season. And I don't think that'll be it either. 2-1 pitch. And another ball there by Logan Gilbert. Was very close to that line. 4-seam fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Cortez. 2-2 pitch. Low and at the knees. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Cortez. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so I'm not going to go out of my way to listen to MJ, but obviously, if it comes on, I'll definitely listen. Or if I'm playing like Grand Theft Auto or something like Vice City and something comes on of his. 3-2 pitch inside, and that is a walk to Carlos Cortez, the king of pop. Not going to see anybody like him ever again. Next up is Nick Kurtz. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Bottom of the 5th, 5-0 Seattle. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. And this is the second time the A's have threatened, and hopefully we can keep those runners stranded again. Kurtz's on-base streak ended last night because of Gabe Spire. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up having another streak like that again, but almost got to 50 before the streak ended. Second place to Mark McGuire for on-base streak. And again, very special, Nick Kurtz. 1-0 pitch, fouls that one off high and away behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike to Nick Kurtz. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Come on, Logan. 1-1 pitch. And Kurtz pops up. And we should leave those runners stranded. Victor Robles is there as well as Julio. And Julio makes the grab right in front of Victor. And that is 3 up and 3 down. There we go. Nice job by Julio Rodriguez in the no-fly zone. All right, let's go to the top of the 6th, and let's see if we can add on a little bit more. Next up in the 6th hole, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks after going 3 for 3 yesterday. It's time to get a hit. Right fielder, Victor Robles. He's made a couple amazing diving catches today as well. Batting second, 1 for 2 with a run and a K, second baseman Cole Clutch Young. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a run and a base on ball, catcher Johnny Pareda. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. All right, we gained another sub since the last commercial break. Only 2 more subs to go to 24,100. We should be able to do that today. And we're at 96 likes. We need 4 more to get to 100. And we got 219 in the room, so that should be very easy to get done. 4 more people out of 219, and we're at 100. Let's go. And shout out to Captain with the 13, Reflect with the 3-er, and Michael with the 2-er. We're at 18, 78 to go on the Dono train. Kunal is coming in. One 0 pitch to Robles ends up being another ball. 2 balls and no strikes to Victor Robles. One low and at the knees, and second pitch high and inside, both sinkers, 93 miles an hour. 2-0 pitch, little dribbler towards third base and foul. 2 balls and 1 strike from Kunal to Victor Robles. Two-one pitch, and Victor ends up getting a piece of that into right field and out of play. Cutter, 89 miles an hour, fouled off by Robles. Joel Kunal on the mound. Victor Robles in the box. 2-2 pitch, little dribbler towards third base and foul. Two pitch from Kunal, and Victor with the line drive to third, throw to first, and down goes Robles, and that is 1 up and 1 down. Next up is Cole Clutch Young. First pitch, and Young gets a little dribbler right into left field off of one hopper. Nice job there by Cole. Way to bring the electricity. Next up is Johnny Pareda. First pitch into Pareda is a ball, 1-0 count. Let's see if that was going to be big enough, but it's not. 1-0 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and no strikes to Johnny Pareda. Two-0 pitch, little dribbler towards first base and foul. Two-0 pitch fouled off. 2 balls and 1 strike to Johnny Pareda. 2-1 pitch and another ball there from Joel. Let's see if I can find something better than that one. Still not really up to my standard. Slider low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Johnny Pareda. 3-1 pitch, high and inside, and Pareda with another walk. We'll take it. Nice job, Johnny. Good eye. Next up in the 9-hole, who ended up having a triple, scoring 2, third baseman Colt Emerson. Seeing if I can find anything good here for Joel, but none of the photos are really good. Yeah, so we ended up getting on JP and Naylor in the first inning, and then Ref Snyder hit a 3-run jack, like Reflect mentioned, and then we ended up having a 2-run RBI triple by Emerson, and that was in the fourth, and we have a 5-0 lead. First pitch to Emerson is high and away with a sinker, 1-0 count. And again, not only, if we win, we get the sweep, but we end up taking over first place in the AL West for the first time this year, I believe. So that's exciting. Even with all the things that have gone wrong, feels good. We're finally going in the right direction. 1-0 pitch, hits the corner for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kunal to Emerson. He did good yesterday as well. Had a single and got hit twice. So he was able to get on base 3 times, and that's the most he's ever got on, in a game for the Mariners this season, 3 times yesterday. And then ends up hitting a 3-run jack. Definitely there's a connection there. And it's not often that Ref Snyder will play in back-to-back games unless we're going against left-handed pitching in back-to-back games, which has happened a few times this season. A's were trying to take advantage of us, and it backfired. 1-2 pitch, little dribbler towards first. Double play, throw to first, and wild throw at first, and he is safe. And Young ends up scampering home off the wild throw, and that is another run for Seattle. 6-0 M's. Let's go. The double play does not work. And Jeff McNeil, I don't know if that'll be another error or whatnot, but we'll take it. Good awareness there by Cole Young, to continue running, and again, they don't get the double play. They get the fielder's choice, and now we have a runner at first with 2 outs. JP Crawford in the box. First pitch, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Everything going, Trident's up. One-0 pitch. Low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to JP Crawford. And hopefully ESPN will update the scoreboard sooner than later. It is 6-0, not 5-0. Two-0 pitch. And a hard hit ball by JP into right field. And it drops. Here we go. And Emerson hustles to third, head first, and safe. Here we go. Runners at first and third with 2 outs. We've been really good with 2 outs today. JP with 3 hits today. Trident's up. So Hernandez got the error. So they got 2 errors today. One by McNeil and one by Hernandez. And JP ends up getting the job done. Now we have runners at first and third. JP at first, Emerson at third for Julio Rodriguez. See if we can get a big 3-run jack here, or even an RBI single or a double. Quick mound visit there for Joel. Let's see if Julio Rodriguez can give us a little bit of that Soto mojo and that Mariner magic that we all have been waiting for. Game 1 with 4 home runs. Yesterday we didn't hit any home runs, but we got the job done and ended up winning that game yesterday 4-1. Could have been 4-0 if Mooney didn't give up the home run late, but we still won. And then obviously now we're at a 6-0 lead, and this is probably the best 3-game stretch we've had in quite some time. First pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away with a cutter, 90 miles an hour, 0-1 count. The Moose is loose. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Much better than the juice being loose. We know what happened there. Top of the 6th, 6-0 Seattle. Runners at first and third with 2 outs. 0-2 pitch to Julio. And a little dribbler up the middle. Should be routine throw to first, and that is out number 3. We leave 2 stranded, but not after we end up getting Young to come home. 6-0 Seattle. They're not rushing him. And with Cal Raleigh, Brendan Donovan, Carlos Vargas, and Miles Mastroboni, they're all kind of due back around June 4th, June 5th, but it's tentative. So again, they're doing a little bit of drills with Cal throwing and whatnot, but they're definitely not going to rush, Donnie back or Cal. They want to make sure that they're healthy, which is the right move. And then obviously with Mastroboni, he'll be just a rotational guy, and Vargas would give us another, individual in the pen. And even though he had some bad moments last year, he did have some good moments as well. And we could always use another person in the pen to help us out, to kind of weed out some of the AAA guys we got in there that have been struggling. So let's go to the bottom of the 6 and see who's up next year for the A's. Next up for the Athletics, in the 3-hole, DHing 1 for 2, the best catcher in 2026, Shea Langoliers. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a base on ball and a K, left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. And batting third, 0 for 2, the former Ranger and Brave catcher, Jonah Heim. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. All right, we're 2 subs away from 24,100. And it looks like we just got it. Thank you to those 2 individuals. And now we're 100 subs away from 24,200. All right, we're at 108 likes, so we finally broke the 100. Thank you so much. We're at 108 likes. 92 to 200. And we're at 18 on the Dono train. 78 to go. Logan Gilbert still wheeling and dealing. 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, 77 pitches, 45 strikes, 3.74 ERA. Getting his ERA below 4 was a goal, and he definitely achieved that, which is great. And first pitch was a ball low and at the knees. Second pitch popped up to Julio in the no-fly zone, and that is 1 up and 1 down. Nice job there by the defense and Julio Rodriguez. Let's go. Down goes Langoliers, and that is 1 away. Next up, 0 for 1 with a base on ball and a K, left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. On deck is Jonah Heim. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. We got the Diamondbacks starting on Friday, and then the Mets. So hopefully we can win 2 out of 3 if they're both 3-game sets. I haven't looked. I assume that's what they are. And then, if we win the first 2 against the Diamondbacks or the Mets, then we can talk about, getting a sweep like potentially today. And again, we're only 1 game below 500 if we win today, and it does give us a sweep and put us in first place. And it kind of feels like, maybe within a few more days, we'll be above 500 and maybe not look back. At least that's what we're hoping. Because if we can get like 4 or 5 games above 500, we can still end up losing a series and even getting swept and still, being a few games above. And that's kind of the goal, to try to get 4 or 5 games up. So if it does end up happening where we end up playing bad and we get swept 3 games in a row, we're still 1 or 2 games up at that point. And I do believe we'll get there. 1-2 pitch. Low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Gilbert to Soderstrom. Yeah, we will be 1 game below 500 again, but if we win, we go to 28 and 29, first place, and then the Athletics would drop to 27 and 29. So we're only a half game back today. So if we win, we take over first place for the first time this year. And again, everyone in the American League stinks record-wise, except for really the Guardians, the Rays and the Yankees. So, the Mariners and 11 other teams are kind of in the same boat, floating around 500, a couple games above, a couple games below, or 5 to 10 really below or more. So luckily we're not the Astros or one of those other teams like the Angels. And back against the wall, and then Refsnyder cannot get to it. Julio finally gets it, and Soderstrom with a double. Next up is Jonah Heim. First pitch to Jonah Heim, fouls it back behind the plate, 0-1 count. And he started off the year with the Braves after being on the Rangers for years and years and years, and now obviously with the A's. 0-1 pitch, gets away from Pareda, 1 ball and 1 strike to Jonah Heim. One pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Gilbert to Heim. This will be Gilbert's last inning. And again, we've been definitely seeing a trend of pitchers doing so well where the other team has been at like 0 or 1. And that's, exactly what you want to see out of the 2 weak links, this season. Castillo and Gilbert, they're getting better. And then obviously we have a lot of expectations for Hancock and Miller. They've been good. And even though Wu and Kirby, our 2 best, lost their last start, overall, they've been great, and it's just about the consistency and also getting run support for those guys as well. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away, and another strikeout there for Logan Gilbert. I like, and that is 2 up and 2 down. Next up in the 6th hole, center fielder Henry Bolte. Big swing and a miss there from Bolte. Slider 87 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And really, besides getting Cal and, Brandon Donovan and Miles Masterboni and Carlos Vargas back, that's going to make me really happy. But I'll really be excited once Cade Anderson gets called up in summertime. Once we can add him to the pen. And then eventually, next year or the year after, we assume that he'll be a starter. And, he might end up having to platoon or piggyback to start off with either, Bryce Miller or Hancock, you would assume, depending on where they go and what happens the rest of the year. But, we assume that JP and Castillo won't be on the team next year. That'll, open up a spot. And definitely excited to see what he can do. Nice job there by JP. Throw to first and got him. Wow. That's the JP Crawford that we all know and love. And again, JP making a diving grab, no sidearm bullshit, throw normal, traditional over, the shoulder. And JP with a great throw to Naylor for out number 3. That was beautiful. And again, JP has had the most errors, which is kind of wild because he's usually one of the most trustworthy with Julio and Cole Young. But again, a lot of the errors to me look like it was mental and also sidearm throws. He has stopped throwing sidearm, and guess what? The errors have stopped as well. Nice job, JP Crawford. Bringing that electricity, baby. You know how much I love defense. All right, let's see who's up next here in the top of the 7th for the Seattle Mariners. Riz, he loves it. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 3 with a K, DHing today in the 3-hole, Randy Arozarena, the most consistent hitter from the beginning of the year. Batting second in the 4-hole, first baseman is Josh Naylor, and batting third in the 5-hole, Rob Refsnyder, playing left field for the very first time. right, Luis Medina is coming in for the A's. Well, that's not a good photo. I thought that was going to convert, but that one is not good enough. Let's see if I can find another. Haven't been swept since the Blue Jays, huh? Wow. First pitch from Medina, line drive to third by Randy, throw to first off the one hopper, and that is one away. Let's see if this one comes up a little bit better. Yeah, that one looks a little bit better. That one is much better, formatting wise. Next up is Josh Naylor. First pitch to Naylor. He pops it up and out of play. 0-1 count. So we got one here by Luis Medina and another different one. There we go. Both of those look good. Let's add those to the athletic file. All right, got both of those in the bucket now for the future. Luis Medina on the mound, Josh Naylor in the box. 0-1 pitch from Medina in there for a strike. Curveball fooling Naylor. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 7th inning, 6-0 Mariners. And it feels good, to finally potentially sweep a team that, is good. Not only that, to be able to be first place in the AL West in a couple more innings. And, again, just to be able to get the offense going, but also the pitching, to be kind of on the same page. Pitching has been great. Hitting has been great in this series. Defense overall has been great. And maybe the one thing that could have been a little bit better is, some of the guys in the pen and Mooney, but, it hasn't cost us a game. And again, we're definitely rolling at the right time. And Naylor pulls one into right field for a nice infield single. Nice job there by Nails. Great job by Josh Naylor. Way to bring that electricity, Josh. Next up is Rob Refsnyder, who's playing left field for the very first time. Oh, now they're going to bring in Luke Raley. I was going to say, are they going to bring him in to play left? Because Luke usually plays right or DHs, so this might be interesting to see how Luke transitions into left as well. But if Luke didn't end up doing it, it'll give him a little bit more depth and flexibility to play left, right, or DH. And now we get Luke Raley in the game, leading the team in home runs and RBIs. Randy leading the team in hits. And Raley shows bunt on the curveball, pulls back at the last second, 1-0 count. Let's see if we can get a nuke from Luke. Raley in the box. Luis Medina on the mound. One-0 pitch, fouls it back to the progressive sign behind the plate. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour by Luis Medina. 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at first. Josh Naylor with 1 out. Just complete control, in this series from beginning to end. And again, we're only a few innings away from getting a sweep and getting first place in the AL West for the first time this season, I believe. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss there by Luke Raley. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Hallwall in the building. What's good? 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss, and that is strike 3. Yeah, but also Pareda is catching. So Canzone and Luke Raley can't catch. So Milo, we obviously know which guys are better, and it's just nice to be able to see the lower guys do well. Rob Refsnyder, Johnny Pareda, Mitch Garver, Robles obviously is now back, and I don't know if they'll have him be our everyday right fielder or only against lefties, but we definitely have some depth, on guys that can play right field, DH, or third. But you know, it's just nice to be able to see everyone kind of coming together. You know, the great players, the good players, and the below average players. First pitch to Robles is low and away, 1-0 count. One 0 pitch. In there for a strike, low and away. Sinker, 97 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to Victor Robles. And the A's are a good team. You know, they've been in first place in the division almost the whole time, besides the Rangers slightly. And, you know, they just ran into a team that had great pitching and great hitting in the Seattle Mariners in this series. So, you know, I still think it's going to be a battle between the Mariners, the Rangers, and the A's to win the division. You know, we're the most talented. But again, we've had injuries, bad play, bad managing, but we're starting to come together at the right time. But I wouldn't count the Rangers or the A's out of it. And we still feel the Astros and Angels are still going to be on the bottom end, but a lot can happen between now and the end of the season. 2-1 pitch, throw to first. Robles with some good hustle, but just not in time. And that is out number 3. Good job there by Medina. And let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning and see who's next up for the Athletics. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. All right, we're at 117 likes. $83 to $200. And we need 1 sub to get to 24,100. We got it, and then we went back 1, but we'll get it back. All right, we're 1 sub away from 24,100. So if we got somebody out of the 227 people in the room to be that sub to get us there, that would be fantastic. And we're at 18 on the Dono train, 78 to go. Next up in the 7-hole, second baseman, 0 for 2 with a K, Jeff McNeil. He also has an error. Batting second in the 8-hole, third baseman, Zach Geloff. And batting third in the 9-hole, shortstop, Darryl Hernandez. And we got Edward Bizardo coming in. And Bizardo has been a little shaky, you know, since Brash and Spire went out. But now we have both of those guys back. But, you know, had a stretch where he gave up, you know, a home run or an RBI in 4 straight starts, but hopefully he'll settle down and settle in and be good here with a 6-0 lead. First pitch is low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Bizardo on the mound, Jeff McNeil in the box. One 0 pitch, little dribbler towards first base and foul. 1 ball and 1 strike from Bizardo to McNeil. Yeah, and again, having the piggyback really does help the bullpen, you know, and again, Castillo probably doesn't like it, you know, but he could be just in the pen and that's it. So, you know, you have to be, you know, kind of blessed and lucky that, you know, Dan is still letting you, you know, start, and he did do well in his last start, best start of the year, you know, and got pissed that he got pulled out. But, you know, you haven't been good this year like Mooney, and, you know, you got to prove yourself. You just can't do it based on what you did in the past. It's what have you done this year? What have you done for me lately, right? And then with Bryce, I know Bryce doesn't like the fucking piggybacking, platooning, you know, type of thing. But again, if it helps our bullpen, that's going to help us not only short term, but long term. 2-1 pitch, high and away. Count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jeff McNeil, especially if we can end up, you know, winning a game with only 2 pitchers and we don't have to worry about any bullpen, you know, guys coming in. But again, the first time that we did it, Bryce started, Castillo went after, we lost. But then obviously we saw Castillo start and Miller come in and we won. So little flip to first off the slow dribbler by McNeil. And Bizzardo toe taps on the bag, and that is 1 away. Down goes Jeff, 1 up and 1 down. Bottom of the 7th inning, 6-0 Seattle. Trident's up. Next up in the 8-hole, third baseman Zach Geloff. And on deck in the 9-hole, shortstop Daryl Hernandez. Let's go, Bizzardo. No home runs, no RBIs. Have a clean inning. I mean, that's probably the main positive out of it all, instead of just, having Bryce Miller start and, having Castillo just pitch 1 or 2 innings in the pen. But again, if they can, continue the trend and we win doing it, I know it's not going to be ideal, for Castillo or Miller. They want to pitch, the whole 6 innings if they could. But again, if we save the bullpen, and we know the bullpen has been shaky, even though, the starting staff is top 10 in most rankings, and the bullpen has been top 10 also, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And again, giving the rest for the bullpen definitely will help us. Short term, long term, even if it's just for that one game. 1-1 pitch, little dribbler towards towards third base and foul. Sinker 95 miles an hour, 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the 7th, 6-0 Seattle. It's a good problem to have a lot of good pitchers, and again, we have Cade Anderson, doing some great things in the farm, as well as Ryan Sloan, but Cade is doing better. And hopefully we get Cade called up before the season ends and we can put him in the bullpen to help out, Ferrer and Spire as lefties in the pen. Pitch fouled off there by Geloff with the sweeper right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bizzardo to Geloff. 1-2 pitch, high and inside. Sinker 95 miles an hour there by Edward Bizzardo. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. 6-0 Mariners lead. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and a nice pitch there by Edward Bizzardo, and that is 2 up and 2 down, looking good. Next up is Daryl Hernandez. Logan Gilbert, great game. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 6 Ks, 2 walks, 91 pitches. First pitch strikes, 15 for 24. Great job, Logan. Obviously we know Castillo and Gilbert have been our 2 worst this year. And if we can just get some consistency out of them, we already know that we're going to get more than likely good performances out of Hancock and Miller most of the time, as well as our top 2 in Wu and Kirby. 1-0 pitch in there for a strike on the corner. Sweeper 83 miles an hour. Good pitch by Bizzardo. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th inning, 6-0 Seattle. 1-1 pitch to Hernandez. Tries to jam him and does. Pitch was high and inside, almost hit him. Sinker 96 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Daryl Hernandez. Athletics will be fine. I know they don't feel good about getting swept, but I mean, it's the same feeling that we felt when we got swept by the Padres on home and on the road. So nobody likes getting swept. Nobody likes getting beat down, or how we beat down the Astros and beat them. So, but again, there's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys, where we're going to sweep, teams and teams are going to sweep us. But again, we're starting to get healthy, and around June 5th, we have an opportunity as that ball drops in between 3 Mariner players. I don't know what happened there. And Hernandez ends up getting a single. Got to have better communication out there, Mariners. Yeah, Naylor, Victor Robles, and Cole Young on all kind of half going for it. And I don't know if Victor or Naylor called it, but Young was going towards it and then just kind of let it drop. So I'm not sure if they thought that they were going to collide into each other, but got to be on that was a play that Cole should have made. So not really what happened there, but got to be able to be on the same page. And we haven't really had too many mistakes today, but one minor mistake right there. First pitch to Cortez, pops it up. Communication, give it to me. And Emerson calls off Luke Rayleigh, and that is out number 3. Good job. And again, when you end up getting into a situation like that with pop-ups, being vocal is very important. Obviously in basketball, you got to be vocal with where guys are at and being able to have that good communication on the fly. But the same thing goes with baseball as well, especially when you're trying to get those key clutch outs. All right, end of the 7th inning, 6-0 Seattle. Let's go to the top of the 8th and see if we can get to 7 or 8 before this one is over. Next up for the Mariners, 2 for 3 with 2 runs in a K. Second baseman Cole Clutch Young. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a run with 2 walks, catcher Johnny Pareda. And batting third, 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a K and a triple, Colt Emerson. Trident's up. Let's go Ems. Six runs, 9 hits, no errors. Great day. Rob Refsnyder with a 3-run jack with Crawford and Naylor on board, 3-0 Mariners. Colt Emerson with a triple to the right, scoring Young and Pareda, 5-0 Mariners. And then Emerson also grounding into a fielder's choice. Young scoring on the throwing error, 6-0 Seattle. All right, we gained 2 more subs to make up for the one that took it back. $99 subs do 24,200. Great series. Couldn't have asked for a better series against a good team. All right, we got 242 in the room. We need 73 likes to get to 200. We can get a few individuals to help us get to at least 150 before the game is over. We can get 23 people out of 246. We'll get to that 150 and above range, which would be great. Luis Medina, first pitch is high and away with a curveball, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, low and at the knees, sinker missing. 2 balls and no strikes from Medina to Young. 2-0 pitch, big swing and a miss on the sinker, 96 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike from Medina to Cole Young. Let's go, Cole. Two-one pitch. Another ball low and away with the changeup, 88 miles an hour. 3 balls and 1 strike to Cole Clutch Young. 3-1 pitch, low and away, and Young forces a walk. There we go. We like that. Next up in the 8-hole, catcher Johnny Pareda. On deck is Colt Emerson. Luis Medina on the mound, Johnny Pareda in the box. First pitch fouled off, out of play. Sinker, 96 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Jerry in the building, what's good? Becky in the building, what's good? Michael in the building, Dank in the building, what's good? Jeremy in the building, what's good? Oh, 1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Medina to Pareda. We got one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. So, at times when we're on and we're pitching and hitting well, then this will happen. So, I mean, the A's are still going to be a competitive team with the Rangers battling Seattle for the top spot. 1-1 pitch popped up, and McNeil ends up making the out. And that is 1 away. Next up for the Mariners in the 9-hole, third baseman Colt Emerson. On deck is J.P. Crawford. I mean, we do have a top 10 pitching staff, top 10 bullpen, based on a lot of the metrics. And we do have an inability to hit a lot of times, but we've locked it in this series. And a nice base knock there by Colt Emerson, a nice single to center, and Young to second. Here we go. All right, JP, 3 for 4 with a run and a K. Let's see if JP can continue this little rally we got going here in the 8th. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch. And that's going to be challenged. Athletics should win this challenge, and they do. 2-0 count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike now to J.P. Crawford. Top of the 8th, 6-0 Seattle with runners at first and second and 1 out. And it's been a while that we've been able to put together, good starting pitching, pretty good bullpen, great hitting, and great defense. But we finally did it in this series. 1-1 pitch, fouled off behind the plate. Change up 89 miles an hour there by Luis Medina. 1 ball and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. Try to dance up. Let's go, M's. And even when we were, 4 or 5 games below 500, still a lot of the quote-unquote baseball experts still thought we were the 3rd best team, behind the Yankees and the Rays. And obviously the Guardians now have, gotten their record above 500 as well. So, it's not ideal, what happened in the first third of the season with the injuries and poor play and questionable managing, but again, we're definitely going on the right path moving forward. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Down goes JP. First pitch is low and away. Slider 85 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Let's go, J-Rod. Top of the 8th, 6-0 Mariners. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. 1-0 pitch, high and inside from Medina to Julio. 2 balls and no strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Cole Young at second, Colt Emerson at first. Two-0 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 2-1 pitch from Medina to Julio. Low and at the knees, low and away. Slider missing there by Luis Medina. 3 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. Let's see if Julio can get a single, double, or home run. See if we can get to 7, 8, or 9 before this one is over. 3-1 pitch from Medina. And a big swing there by Julio. Kind of a half swing, but ended up having to commit. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Take the walk, Julio, if it's not there. You're 0 for 4 with a K, but take the walk if it's there. 3-2 pitch. And Julio gets a hold of one. Deep left field. Back. Gone! Julio Rodriguez with a 3-run jack on a 3-2 count. And just like that, you ask for 7-8-9, and you get 7-8-9. 9-0 Seattle. Let's go. Hell yeah. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Great job by Julio, tying for the most home runs in a month in August 2023, July 2025, as well as this month, 8. And we've never seen him really do it, in the first half of the season. And again, he's really putting it together, even though he started off really poorly with Naylor and Cal in the first 10 games. But him and Naylor have turned it around. Great job there by Julio. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Next up is Randy Arozarena. 0-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Medina to Arozarena. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Bash with a tenor. Appreciate you. One-two pitch. And Randy with a hard hit ball. Deep right field. Back to the warning track and caught by Cortez. And that is out number 3, but not after. We get a Julio Rodriguez 3-run jack. Nice job by Cole Young and Colt Emerson getting on base. And again, a lot of times, with a 3-2 or an 0-2, that usually leads to strike 3, but not for Julio today, baby. 9-0 Mariners. Love it. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Beautiful. Rob Refsnyder with a 3-run jack. Julio Rodriguez with a 3-run jack. Emerson with a triple, scoring 2. And then also Emerson grounding into a fielder's choice for Young to score. Just a great blend of young and old on the team, and not like necessarily old, but older. We don't have any guys on like really the brink of retirement, but you know what I mean. But it feels good. We're getting it done. Reflect with another 3-er. Appreciate you. Arcelis with a 3-er. Let's go, baby. Go to the bottom of the 8th and see who's up next here for the A's. 0 for 3 with 2 Ks in the 2-hole. First baseman Nick Kurtz. Batting second in the 3-hole, DHing the best catcher in 2026, Shea Langoliers. And batting third in the 4-hole, left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. $99 subs to go to 24,200. Now let's see if we can get a few more likes before this game is over. See if we can get to that 150 number at the bare minimum. Let's see where we're at. We're at 134. All right, we got 241 in the room. If we can get 16 people out of 241, we'll be at 150. We're not going to be able to get to 200 likes. Let's see if we can get to at least 150 and beyond before this one is over. Cooper Criswell enters the game for the Mariners. And on an 0-1 pitch, a little dribbler. And Naylor toe taps the bag, says, Criswell, don't worry about it. I got it. And that is 1 away. Cooper Criswell on the mound. Next up, after Kurtz ends up dribbling out, Shea Langoliers. 1 for 3. On deck, Tyler Soderstrom. First pitch to Langoliers. Big swing and a miss. Got fooled there. 0-1 count. 300 average, 13 home runs, 28 ribbies. Fantastic year so far for Shea Langoliers. Definitely the best catcher in the American League this year. And then in the National League, obviously we know the Braves got a really good one in Drake Baldwin. Both are having really good seasons. And hopefully Cal will be able to get back into gear when he comes back around June 5th, as long as he doesn't have a setback, as well as Brandon Donovan, Carlos Vargas, and Miles Mastroboni. They're all 4 due back around the same time. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, but that doesn't mean that they will come back all at the same time. They could definitely push out, some of those guys a little bit longer if they're not ready or if they have a setback. 1-2 pitch. That's fouled out of play. Sweeper, 78 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Cooper Criswell to Shea Langoliers. Bottom of the 8th, 9-0 Seattle. One-two pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Shea Langoliers. Sweeper, 82 miles an hour, missing by quite a bit there by Cooper. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on, and 1 out. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Nice job there by Cooper Criswell. 2 up and 2 down. Retiring Nick Kurtz and Shea Langoliers. Next up is Tyler Soderstrom. Nando in the building, what's good? First pitch from Criswell to Soderstrom, takes a strike looking with the changeup, 86 miles an hour, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, little dribbler towards first, throw to Naylor, and that is 3 up and 3 down. A very dominant performance here today against the Athletics, and obviously yesterday and the day before as well, if we're being honest. All right, let's go to the top of the 9th and see if we can get one more run to get to 10. It would be great to be able to win 10-0 against this team, but again, if Mooney comes in, it might end up being 9-1 or 10-1 based off his inability to close out games before giving up a home run or an RBI, but who knows? Maybe it'll be someone different like Ferrer or Brash today, since Mooney pitched yesterday and gave up the home run. Try dance up. Let's go M's. Next up for the Mariners in the top of the 9th, 1 for 4 with a run. First baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Filling in for Rob Refsnyder, obviously now will be Luke Raley, 0 for 1 with a K. And batting third, playing right field and doing a great job, obviously with the defense, looking for his first hit today after going 3 for 3 yesterday. 0 for 4 with 2 Ks, Victor Robles. Try dance up. Let's go M's. 99 subs to go to 24,200. 9-0 Seattle. All right, we're at 145 likes. 5 more to go. 55 to get to 200. 5 to get to 150. Jose Suarez is coming in. We should be able to rough him up. At least we hope. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the 9th inning, 9-0 Mariners. Try dance up. We're about to sweep the A's, and not only that, we're about to take over first place in the AL West for the first time this year. Let's go. Still 1 game below 500, but who fucking cares? First place is first place, right? And again, we have the day off tomorrow. Fly back, obviously, to T-Mobile tonight. And we have a series with the Diamondbacks and then the Mets. And if we can win 2 out of 3 in both or better, You know, it'll definitely put us in that position to be above 500, and hopefully we won't look back. First pitch from Jose Suarez, the lefty, into Josh Naylor. And that is a ball, 1-0 count. One 0 pitch, low and away. Slider missing. 2 balls and no strikes to Josh Naylor. And again, you know, the Rays are great this year. The Yankees are great. The Guardians are great. But then the other 12 teams have been struggling. So, but again, maybe we can be that next team, you know, that we can creep up, you know, with the Guardians and the Rays and the Yankees. And honestly, you know, there's a pretty good possibility it will be us. You know, we have a lot of talent. It's just putting it together. Pitching, bullpen, starting pitching, bullpen pitching, hitting, defense, and managing. And obviously getting back, you know, Brandon Donovan, Cal Raleigh, Carlos Vargas in the pen, as well as Miles Mastrobuoni would be awesome too. Pitch fouled off into the crowd. Sinker at 90 miles an hour right down the middle by Jose Suarez. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. I think everyone liked Mike Cameron. I mean, that was a big shoes to fill, filling in for Ken Griffey Jr. after going to the Reds. And, you know, everyone remembers the 4 home run game. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys that were on the team that I wish stayed a little bit longer, like Adam Jones. Should have never went to the Orioles, but, you know, we've had some, you know, some guys come in to do, you know, some special things for us as well. 3-2 pitch. And Naylor with a little blooper into right, and it drops. There we go. Naylor with another single into right field. But I always liked John Olerud. I always liked Tino Martinez, Richie Sexton, Raul Ibanez, you know, Nelson Cruz. You know, there's a lot of guys that we've had. Kyle Seager. You know, I could go on and on and on. So Felix Hernandez. I mean, imagine if we had Felix Hernandez instead of Luis Castillo. I imagine how dominant that starting 5 would be. Next up is Luke Raley. First pitch to Suarez to Raley. Big swing and a miss, low and away. Slider 79 miles an hour by Suarez, 0-1 count. Top of the 9th, runner at first with no outs, 9-0 Seattle. We're on the brink of a sweep and taking over first place over the A's for the first time this season. Trident's up. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Suarez to Raley. And I assume a lot of the bandwagon fans will start hopping back on after the All-Star break or once we get above 500. But, you know, for a lot of us diehards, you know, we're going to be going through it. You know, the peaks and the valleys, the ups and the downs. No matter what our record is, I will be here. 1 ball and 1 strike to Luke Raley. Let's go, Luke. See if Luke can get a nuke. One pitch from Suarez to Raley. Low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first and no outs. Top of the 9th, 9-0 Seattle. Let's go, Luke. Number 1 in home runs, number 1 in RBIs, and he's a platoon player. Got to have him play full time somehow, some way. But now with Victor Robles coming back in right field, there definitely is a little bit of a log jam, you know, in right field, DH, and at third base, you know, depending on who can play those positions. So 2-1 pitch, fouled off behind the plate there by Luke. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Luke Raley. Two pitch, line drive towards first base and foul. We don't need Scooball, injury prone. Plus, we have a lefty that we can get excited about in Cade Anderson. You know, I'd rather root for guys that, you know, that we develop rather than trying to bring someone over from another team and watching them fail or get injured. I mean, Scooball does have, you know, Pacific Northwest ties and whatnot, but we don't need him, you know, to go where we want to go. 2-2 pitch. And Raley popped up into shallow center field and caught. And that is 1 away. Next up for the Mariners, Victor Robles. 3 for 3, got replaced by Luke. Struck out on 3 pitches. Was really hoping for a potential 4 for 4 day yesterday for Victor, like Colt Emerson had a couple days ago. And let's see if Victor can find a way to go 1 for 5 today. He's already saved us, a few runs based on a couple diving grabs in right field. And I don't know if they're going to have, Luke out there when we go against right-handed pitching and Robles out there versus left-handed pitching, or if they end up making Victor the everyday right fielder like Julio in center and Randy in left, but we'll find out. Definitely is a good problem to have when you have a lot of players that can play, different positions, and then you just have to manage it the best you can. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees, 1 ball and 1 strike to Victor Robles. But I feel like we've gotten an emotional lift when Robles came back, Emerson got called up, and I feel that we'll get another lift when Cade gets called up after summer, or after the All-Star break to give us some help in the pen. And there we go, Robles with the line drive into left, and Robles ends up getting his hit. There we go. Love me some Victor Robles. 0 for 4, no problem. Nice base knock to go 1 for 5. Great job, Victor. Next up, in the 7 hole, second baseman Cole Clutch Young. Let's see if Cole can end up getting an RBI or a home run, so that way we can get to double digits here. First pitch into Young is low and away. Supposedly hitting the corner there, even though it looked a little outside. Slider 80 miles an hour by Jose Suarez, 0-1 count. Yeah, Munetaka Murakami. I mean, you end up getting one of the best home run hitters coming over from Japan, and, he's made an impact, over there. And, we know how good Kyle Schwarber is. Double play. No double play there. Force out at second, fielder's choice. And that is 2 away. Runners now at first and third. Young at first, Naylor at third. But again, when you end up having a guy that's putting up numbers, like Schwarber and Aaron Judge, in his first year from Japan, we obviously know how good Ichiro was, and then we had Hideki Matsui on the Yankees, but Munetaka Murakami is kind of like Hideki Matsui, but better. And we're definitely seeing that in his first year. And he's changed the culture of the White Sox, where they actually might make the playoffs this year. And Pareda with the line drive, and right there to Hernandez, and that is out number 3. All right, 9-0 Mariners. We leave 2 stranded. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get to double digits, but I would love for us to be able to win 9-0, not 9-1, based on when Mooney came in yesterday when we had the 4-0 lead and he gave up a home run. Would be nice. I mean, we put up 9 twice in this series. We won 9-2. We won 4-1. I would love to win 9-0 here, but that will depend on who comes in. Is it going to be Mooney in the second game back-to-back? Is it going to be Brash? Is it going to be Jose Ferrer? Is it going to be Gabe Spire? We'll find out here in a moment. Next up, 0 for 3 with a K, catcher Jonah Heim. Coming over from the Braves and formerly a Texas Ranger. Batting second, 0 for 3 in center field, Henry Bolte. And batting third, 0 for 3 with a K and an error, Jeff McNeil. I mean, unless they end up having Cooper Criswell pitch 2 innings in a row, but I don't think they would do that. But we will see here in a moment. Yeah, tied for 8 home runs 2 other times in 2023, 2025, and this year. So if he hits 1 more in this month, he'll have the record in 1 month, 9. So we'll see how that goes. Rick Riz is loving it. All right, bottom of the 9th. Last stretch here. I mean, Criswell only did have 10 pitches, but let's see what they decide to do. I highly doubt Mooney's going to come out since he already pitched yesterday and, gave up the home run, but we will see. Pitching comparison, Mariners good, Athletics not so much. All right, looks like they're going to stick with Criswell. Wow. Okay, Cooper Criswell stays out there. And first pitch to Jonah Heim is in there for a strike, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jonah Heim. One pitch, another ball there from Cooper Criswell, who pitched in the 8th and now is pitching in the 9th. 1-1 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Jonah Heim. 2-1 pitch, another ball there from Criswell. 3 balls and 1 strike to Jonah Heim. 3-1 pitch, high and away, and that ends up being a 5-pitch walk. No, because the Athletics are 27-28. So if the Athletics lose, they go to 27-29, and we improve to 28-29. So we're a half game back. So if we win, we're above 500. Yeah, they're 27-28. So they obviously would go from 28 losses to 29 losses, if that makes sense. So we would be in first place. And a little foul tip there by Bolte on the 0-1 count. No balls and 2 strikes from Criswell to Bolte. Oh, it's all good, man. I got you. Oh, 2 pitch. Low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Criswell to Bolte. All right, Paredes challenging. Great series. All right, no challenges. Paredes 0 for 2 on his challenges today. First one was not even close. That one was not really close either, but we got a 9-0 lead. We haven't had too many issues, and nice to have no errors as well. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Criswell to Bolte. Yeah, A's were 27-28. Little dribbler going behind the plate and foul. I look at the standings every day. I look at all the stats, American League, National League, who's got a plus minus. I look at who's, doing good in morning, afternoon, night games and the records. I'm going through all the nerd, websites and looking at all the stats that, that are available. 2-2 pitch, and Bolte pops it up into right field, and Victor can't make the play. And now Jonah Heim sliding into third. Probably wasn't a very good idea to have Cooper Criswell pitch the 8th and the 9th. Now he's having a little bit of a meltdown, and realistically, we're not going to shut this team out. They'll probably score 1 or 2 runs here. Kenji Jojima, of course. Bolte to first, Jonah Heim at third, and next up is Jeff McNeil. And a little dribbler up the middle. Give me the double play. Throw to first. Got him. Double play is confirmed, but Jonah Heim scores, and it's 9-1 Seattle. Next up in the 8-hole, third baseman Zach Geloff, and hopefully this will be the last batter that we face. First pitch to Geloff in there for a strike, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, hard hit ball towards third, gets past Emerson and rolls to Luke Raley in left. Next up in the 9-hole, shortstop Darryl Hernandez. And hopefully this will be the last batter. But again, obviously Cooper Criswell, one of our lower end bullpen, players. So I wish I would say I'm surprised, but it would have been nice to win 9-0, but I guess it just wasn't in the cards. First pitch to Hernandez, pops up into right field, out of play. 0-1 count. Bottom of the ninth inning, 9-1 Mariners. Let them know, TJ. Let's see if we can get a few more individuals in the room to smash that like button, and we'll go over the stats and the breakdown after the game is over. So we'll be live for about 5 minutes after the game ends, just to kind of go over a quick recap. And then we got the day off tomorrow, and a little slow dribbler to JP, and a little flip to Cole Young, and that is out number 3. Great job by the Seattle Mariners, except there by Criswell at the end. Final score, Mariners 9, Athletics 1, and when the Mariners win, what do? We fucking dance. Mariners win, Mariners win, Mariners win. Fuck yeah. Not only do we sweep the Athletics, we're first place in the AL West for the first time this season with a 28-29 record. Athletics 27-29, Rangers 25-29, Astros 24-32, and the low Angels 21-34. Could you imagine having the Angels record? Mariner fan base, you couldn't, and you wouldn't want to either. 13 games below 500. Someone pinch me. Glad that's not us. Great job there by the Mariners with the victory. Rob Refsnyder with a 3-run jack in the first inning, 3-0 Mariners. And then obviously we know that Colt Emerson tripled the right. Young and Paredes scored, and that ended up making it 5-0 Mariners. Emerson also grounded into a fielder's choice. Young scored from third, 6-0 Mariners. And then we had Julio Rodriguez with a 3-run jack late on a 3-2 count. And that was with Young and Emerson on board, 9-0 Mariners. And unfortunately, Cooper Criswell couldn't be clean there, and Jeff McNeil ended up getting a double play. And then obviously we know that Heim scored from third, and we ended up winning 9-1. But let's go over the stats for both teams. All right, Carlos Cortez, 1 for 3. Nick Kurtz, 0 for 4. Shea Langoliers, 1 for 4. Tyler Soderstrom, 1 for 3. Jonah Heim, 0 for 3 with a run. Henry Bolte, 1 for 4. Jeff McNeil, 0 for 4. Zach Geloff, 2 for 4. And Darrell Hernandez, 2 for 4. And then let's go with the Seattle Mariners. 3 for 5 for JP Crawford with a run. Great job. Julio Rodriguez, 1 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a home run. Great job. Randy Arozarena, 1 for 5. Good job. Josh Naylor, 2 for 5 with a run. Good job. Rob Refsnyder, fantastic job. 1 for 3 with a 3 RBI game and a 3-run jack to get us going. Victor Robles, 1 for 5, getting a hit on his last at-bat. Awesome. Cole Young, 2 for 4 with 3 runs. Great job, Cole. Johnny Pareda, 0 for 3, but did get a run. And Colt Emerson, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. And obviously we know that Logan Gilbert, Bizzardo, and Criswell, obviously Gilbert and Bizzardo did a good job. Criswell gave up the run, but again, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks, 91 pitches, 54 strikes. And the best part is ERA is no longer 4. Now it's 3.69. I love it. Gilbert gets the win, and now he improves to 3-4. I love that. And Springs gets the loss, going from 3-5 to 3-6. Feels good, baby. Let's go. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. No problem, TJ. Appreciate you. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. You know, shout out to Captain starting us off with a $13 dono, and then Reflect with a 3-er, Michael with a 2-er, Dash with a 10-er, Reflect with another 3-er, and Arcelis with his first dono to the channel with a 3-er. Appreciate you. For all the people that helped out as well all day, I see you. Thank you for the support and the help, as well as everyone else like TJ and Reflect. And again, what a great day. You know, we get the sweep. We're in first place. We got the day off. We're going to have a great rest of our Wednesday afternoon. We're going to have a great Thursday, and then we're going to start a series on against the Diamondbacks, who are pretty good this year, but I'm not afraid. And then after the Diamondbacks at home, we also play the Mets, and we know how bad the Mets have been. But sometimes we do have trouble with New York, but most of the time in New York. But hopefully we'll be able to beat down the Diamondbacks, beat down the Mets, and then be a few games above 500. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Final score, Seattle Mariners 9, Athletics 1. Get the brooms out. We got the sweep. But most importantly, we're now first place in the AL West with a 28-29 record. Love you guys, and I appreciate you. And I got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Tridents up and go Mariners.